name's Catherine Van,
And I'm Maite Jacobo.
and we're going to talk about the recent school shootings that have been happening during the news.
And including the walkout that's going on Wednesday.
So what are your thoughts on the walkout? Because there's a lot of opinions on it.
Yeah. I think, personally, it's a good idea because, you get to express your kind of thoughts on gun violence and, again, talk or show kind of, you want change and students have the power to do that. But I personally am kind of afraid of doing the walkout just because one of my teachers, I don't remember who said this, but one of my teachers brought it up that probably being in a giant crowded area in school, especially with everything going on, is probably not the best thing to do. And since everyone's kind of aware of it, I'm not saying it could happen, but the possibility of it happening is kind of paranoid.
Well, I feel like, because California has pretty strict gun laws,
True.
So it's not that likely, but there's still a chance of having it. So I'm not that worried as most people.
How do you feel about the walkout?
I feel it's it's important, and we have to do this because we need to show this is really a big problem. And we need to do something about it. But the problem is with how the school is dealing with it, because they're kind of forcing us to do this walkout and not by our own will. And the point of a walkout is being rebellious against
the system.
Yeah, and the school's kind of
Here, we'll give you a class period to do it.
yeah, and it makes it pointless to do the walkout.
I think that if they wanted to really allow us to be rebellious, because that's the point of a walkout, is to be more rebellious about the whole thing, is to be okay, we know that this walkout is happening. Instead of giving us a period of time, 20 minutes, to do the walkout, I say that instead that they should be okay, if you are walking out, we won't mark you as truants, and we won't not make you or not allow you to make up tests, because I know in other places where people did do walkouts, there were they got referrals and other stuff, and they couldn't make up tests because the teachers were oh, you guys shouldn't have walked out.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain this, but the teachers, they have the right to do it because that's their job, but they shouldn't be restraining us to do these, because it's also affecting them, because it's our school and it's going to affect them eventually.
That's true. How do you feel about the news and the way it's been reacting with the whole Florida shooting?
We were talking about this in our history class, and we're talking about how the news is kind of glorifying the shooters.
I agree.
And then they're making them seem like this big, huge star in a way, and then people will kind of want to copy them, because stars, usually people will copy stars and important people that are on the news. And so I feel like they're promoting this school shooting, and yeah.
I agree. I feel like they're glorifying kind of the shooter, because everyone if you I am not as obsessed as someone else that might be about the whole Florida shooting, because I know there's people that are actively trying to talk about it and solve it and try to find out what happened. It's people, when they watch the news tells you everything about the shooter, their background story, what happened before the night of the shooting, what their thought processes is, and it seems like everyone knows everything about the school shooter, but the 17 people that were affected, they don't know anything about them. I'm pretty sure if you asked someone about the Florida shooting, they wouldn't be able to name any of the victims. It's how Jacobs talked about the brain dead megaphone, and how if you talk loud enough about something and enough times about something, people are going to be oh my God, let's just glorify this idea in a way glorifying the shooter.
And then I know that certain news channels are trying to restrain that propaganda or something like that, and they only refer to the shooter as the shooter, and they give nothing about them, and that's kind of the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's not promoting the people who are having problems to oh, I think I need to shoot a school because I'm bullied or something.
Yeah, I agree. I feel just referring to the shooter, not even having to give a name. Maybe if you say the name once, then yeah, that's all that you need to do. I don't think you need to like talk about like. I remember on one news channel they're talking about how, like, a few months ago the shooter like commented on a YouTube channel like, oh, I want to like shoot up this school, or I want to be a school shooter, and like the YouTuber, they were like talking about it more, and it's like they're giving all this background stories, but they don't talk enough about the victims. Talking about victims, how do you feel about the whole crisis actor thing going on? If you know what that is, of course.
Like, explain it to me.
Oh yeah, a crisis actor is again where the people in this or the news are like blaming or saying that the kids that were being interviewed, I can't really name them off my top of my head because I don't really watch the news too much. But the news are like, oh, the kids that are talking and being in rallies that were saying that they were in the school shooting are actors. And they only come around when a crisis comes out, so they make it seem worse. So they're just acting like it's a big deal, even though it's not. And they weren't a part of the shooting. They're just trying to stir up more drama and controversy.
That's what I thought too, because when I look at the news, it's just some of their expressions were really real, and then I felt it. But some of them are just a little too real, I suppose. They're like, it's kind of scripted. And I'm just like, are they really? Like, were they really there? And then what happened to the other students? Because they're only talking about like the sad events and people are crying, but like I kind of want to know about the other students who like were there, but they didn't, like, they weren't there in like the area where the shooting started. So
I feel like even if they are actors, I think it's still kind of messed up to say that if they really were a victim at the school, like they were not like per se they were in the room that it was happening in, but like they were actually at the school and having to hide in the classroom when this was happening. Saying that they didn't go through that and it's just fake, I feel that's so like desensitizing and just so cruel, because like it's like you're focusing on people who might be lying about whether or not they were there when 17 people died. It's like, that's all you care about? I don't know. It feels wrong.
And talking about desensitizing stuff, I feel like now school shootings are not that big anymore, because there was a recent school shooting at an area near Alabama, and then it was just a small one, but still people died in there. And then the news barely gave any information, like not naming the thing, like the shooter. They literally just gave nothing. They didn't tell who was injured, like what exactly happened. It was just, oh, there's a shooting. Let's go back to the weather. And
yeah,
it just desensitized everything.
I feel like people are like, oh, it happens all the time. Why should we care about it? And I kind of find that messed up, because it shouldn't get to a point where these things, you're just like, it happens all the time. It's not that big of a deal. Because it's like, it's innocent kids dying. And even if it's a small shooting, because I can understand they won't call it like a mass shooting just because like you need 4 or more people to die, I think. But still, like, giving a little recognition to the person that did die is like messed up, because it's like they died. And you're acting like it's not a big deal. And I'm pretty sure if it was your kid, you would care so much and you would want the news to cover it and try to do something about it. I don't know. I feel like the whole desensitizing thing is, feel like slowly and surely we're all just getting to the point where we're numb and we just don't care or react to anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not as I could put it into words. Like, we have fire drills constantly now, and then most of them are just false alarms because the construction people are trying to fix our alarm system. And then it was so weird because one time in English, I think, 4th period, there was a fire alarm. We thought, oh, it's just another mishap. But there was like an actual fire. Not a big one, but it was still like there were a fire. Yeah, smokes. And then we did nothing. We just sat down and legitimately just continued to watch the movie. And now it started like making me think, like, what happened if there was an actual fire? We're all gonna die.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's like no one's taking it seriously. And it's like these situations you do want to take seriously. I think if something repeats just amount of times, depending on who you are, you're just going to be like, it's normal. Who cares? talking about the fire alarm and just fire drills, what do you think about the lockdown drill and then the stay in shelter drill that's happening next week?
For the the lockdown drills, I feel like it is important that we know, because before all the the news about school shootings, I didn't know what to do exactly, because when there was a fire alarm during lunch, I had like no idea what to do. Like, do I go to my next class or do I go to like a lunch line class?
Yeah.
It was kind of stupid, but I kept on thinking, and then I didn't do anything, and I was pretty sure if there was a fire, I was gonna die there.
Yeah.
So
I feel like it's important to practice the lockdown drills, because I remember in kindergarten, the one at least I went to, we practiced lockdown drills like every month or so, where we would go undercover, turn off the lights, lock the doors, and then someone would come and see if it was open or not. And I thought that was a good thing, but then in middle school it stopped. And then I feel like it is important for kids and us to know what to do in a situation where it's life or death sometimes.
yeah, the idea of actually doing a lockdown drill during a period seems more logical, because most of the time the shooters will probably be like, oh, we're gonna kill all these people during lunch, or whenever everyone's outside and not in their class. And so I feel like this is a really smart idea of doing it on a random period, passing period, and then we actually know what to do exactly instead of panic and do stuff.
That's true. I like how they're trying. No, they didn't tell us what time it was going to occur. It was just going to be random, because then it makes sense for the situation, because at any given moment it could happen and you're not prepared for it. And I feel like they should do that do they do that with the fire drills? I think they do. They do it kind of randomly, unless people are like, oh, there's going to be a fire drill probably at this period. But I feel like it is important to have that sense of randomness and when it's going to happen. So then you're you're in the moment and you're just what would I do? And that's why I think it's good they're also doing it during passing period, because a lot of people would be like, oh, what? Where am I supposed to go? I'm not in a class. And I think that's important because of the whole shooting in Florida, where they got the alarm pulled and then they didn't know what to do exactly.
And then what I heard was the shooting occurred after school, and that's when pretty much all teachers are leaving or about to leave,
Mm-hmm.
or they're in their classroom doing their own thing. All the students are outside doing their thing, and they're outside and inside of school and doing after school activities and stuff like that. So it's more chaotic than, oh, we're all in a classroom, let's do this thing at this time. So
Yeah, I just hope people take it seriously, just because I feel like of the past of having fire drills, people are like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And I feel like maybe people won't take it as seriously, because when we had that assembly on Tuesday about it, people were just like, whatever, this is dumb.
yeah.
We will come back in the next segment with hopefully another person.
Yeah.
See ya.
Bye.